Several more witnesses still expected to take the stand. It's likely the murder trial of Gregory Bell will continue well into next week.
That's after the first week of testimony came to a close this afternoon. Several Texas Rangers involved in the investigation took the stand today. Let's go ahead and send it over to Josh Hoggard to see the very latest from the 97th District Court.
Guys, testimony today was centered around the Texas Ranger who initially assisted the St. Joe police with the investigation into the brutal beating of Tia Hudson in the early morning hours of August 5th, 2022, and the signs that pointed to Greg Bell as the suspect. The trial of Greg Bell resumed this morning in the Montague County Courthouse, with prosecutors Paige McCormick and Katie Bogman calling their first witness of the day, Texas Ranger Josh Engelman. He testified that he interviewed Bell for over 3 hours on the day Hudson was found beaten inside her home, testifying that Bell made several contradicting statements and that his timeline of the day's events didn't quite add up. Ranger Engelman testified that Bell would constantly accuse Hudson of cheating on him before admitting that, in fact, he'd been unfaithful to her, leading to intimacy issues in the relationship. The Ranger also testified that Bell wasn't happy with the fact that Hudson started buying meth from someone other than him, while Bell also admitted to using meth on August 4th, the day before Hudson was found. Ranger Engelman also testified that when he brought up the fact that Hudson had been attacked, Bell responded, quote, "What was she hit with? A flashlight?" Defense attorney Bob Estrada cross-examined Ranger Engelman, during which he testified that Bell was the only person of interest to authorities in Hudson's murder. The next Texas Ranger on the stand, Ranger Craig Stevens. Ranger Stevens also interviewed Bell after he was arrested for Hudson's murder, pointing out that he found it strange that Bell couldn't give any specifics on when certain events leading up to the attack happened, yet he could remember minute-by-minute details of days that happened after. Then, Ranger Jared Brown of the Digital Forensics Division shared information taken from Bell's cell phone with the jury, including call logs and text messages, both revealing that Bell was becoming more frustrated and erratic toward Hudson in the hours before she was found unresponsive, with an increasing number of phone calls and growing aggression in the text messages. Bell's defense requested to wait until Monday to cross-examine Ranger Brown so that their defense expert could be present, which led to the day's final witness, family law attorney James Moss, who testified that he was Hudson's attorney when a restraining order was filed against Bell in 2021 and ultimately granted. He testified that he saw a pattern of increasing abuse and that everything about the case lined up with domestic abuse cases he's seen in his career as a former prosecutor. Then, just before proceedings wrapped up today, Moss testified that what ultimately pushed Hudson to the point of a protective order was when Bell injured her son, Trevor Riley, and that but for her son's injury, she may have never come forward at all. That's where we'll pick up things on Monday when testimony resumes here at the Montague County Courthouse. Now, prosecutors have indicated they still have witnesses to call before Bell's defense has its chance with the jury. Of course, we'll be back to keep you updated on air and online. You can find more from today's witnesses over on our website, Texomashomepage.com.
All right, Josh, thank you so much for that update.